I just find it odd how when Meghan gets criticised and scrutinised, people accept it, the journalists keep quiet, the press keep quiet. But yet when it was Kate with her supposed cancer diagnosis, everyone jumped on and said, leave her alone, stop picking on the poor woman. But when Meghan was getting abused and had all those racist comments from people when she was pregnant with Archie, no one did anything. No one said a single word. They just ignored it like it wasn't happening, basically. And I just find it a bit hypocritical how the press and the journalists and the media all go on Kate's side and not Meghan. And someone said, how is that fair? So when she said she supposedly got diagnosed with cancer, people started saying, well, where is she? Why hasn't she come out after 6 months and everything? The video on the bench was AI. Why does her hair look so good? Because it was a wig. But why does her hair look so good for someone that's supposedly on chemotherapy? And all the journalists came out and said, oh, just leave the woman alone. Stop picking on her. And I just thought, really? You're sticking up for Kate, yet you won't say nothing about Meghan. You won't say, leave poor Meghan alone. She's been through so much, but there's nothing. And I can't understand how one party can be so pro to one person. And I mean, what Meghan had to endure was a lot worse than what Kate had to put up with. So Meghan was being called all sorts of horrific names. I'm not even going to repeat the ones I heard they were calling her. They were saying that her baby bump was fake, that she had a moon bump on underneath. I mean, do you really think the palace are going to let her walk about with a moon bump on? That would be scandalous. They wouldn't allow it. They'd say, look, you can't go out if you're wearing one of those. It's ridiculous. I don't know whoever started that conspiracy of saying that she wasn't actually pregnant. I mean, couldn't you see that she'd put on weight on her face? And afterwards, when he was born, because she was breastfeeding, she still had quite a chubby face. But people wouldn't have it. But when it's Kate, it's, oh yes, Kate delivered all 3 of her babies. She had them all naturally. She didn't have any cesareans or epidurals. But when it comes to Meghan, it's, oh no, Meghan had a surrogate. Meghan never had Archie or Lilibet. And again, just to bang on about how the press are on one side and not the other person's side. And they're both women at the end of the day. And people say, oh, well, you're just being biased because you like Meghan. I'm not really, because if you look at the articles when they've done comparisons, when Meghan touched her bump, she couldn't do it. Yet the article said about when Kate did it, she was a wonderful person. And then the avocados, when Kate ate them, they said about how they made her skin glow. Yet when Meghan did it, they said she was destroying the rainforest. And then Kate's wedding bouquet flowers, how they scented the church. And then when Meghan had her bouquet of flowers for her wedding, they all said how she put Charlotte's life at risk by giving her an allergic reaction to the flowers. And someone said, really? And people just can't see how corrupt it is when it comes to the Princess of Wales. People say, oh no, she hasn't got people doing her dirty work. She has. Because how can it be pro-Kate and anti-Meghan? And all I hear is, oh yes, well, she threw the family under the bus. She didn't. She told the truth. If I was her, I'd do the same. She told the truth because she got sick of all the lies and the negative stories that were completely false, that were still coming out in the press. And the royal family were allowing it. What do you want her to do? Just sit back and not do anything and just take accountability and just say, oh yes, I did do that, even though I didn't. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then people say, why does she have to come out and tell people what it's really like behind the scenes? I think we should know because we're paying for them. Fair enough if we weren't paying for them, but they're getting £550 million a year from us. I think we should know how corrupt it is behind the scenes. Then people might actually change their minds and realise, actually, is the royal family worth the money? It isn't, in my opinion. But just getting back onto those double standards, how every article I read, Daily Mail, The Mirror, Daily Express, The Star, everything, it's pro-Kate. But if Meghan, there's always some sarcastic comment and it's always negative. And I just think, how can you stick up for one woman? Kate, oh, leave the woman alone, she's just had cancer. I bet if that was the other way around and that was Meghan, the journalists would just leave it and say, oh, get on with it, she's got cancer, she'll have to get on with the negativity. But as it's Kate, it's like, oh, leave her alone, she's done nothing wrong. How would you feel if you had cancer? I don't understand how people can just come on here and say, oh yes, the Princess of Wales is such a nicer person than Meghan. How do you know? Because behind the scenes, there was an article and it said 1 minute she's your best friend and then the next minute she's your worst enemy. I mean, how could you make that up? And I agree, I think she is like that behind the scenes, Kate. She likes causing trouble, chaos, arguments. She's very confrontational. We've seen so many times where she's been confrontational with Meghan. And I just think it's sick how the press can stick up for such an aggressive woman who's such a bully to other women. And just, again, if that was me and I was pregnant and I was putting up with those negative stories and all those false claims, I actually don't know how she did it. I can actually see why she was on the brink of suicide. I think that would actually internally damage me as well, because when it was Kate, they stopped all the nastiness, but with Meghan, it just carried on. And everyone says, oh, she deserved it. What was she thinking? What did she think it was going to be like after throwing her family under the bus? But you got to remember, they did it before they wrote the book, and Oprah. They were being horrible to her before the book, before the Oprah interview, the Netflix. It was before. So someone said it just shows it was bad before they even divulged what the royal family was like. And people just can't see it. They're like, oh, well, it was afterwards they said everything. It wasn't. It was before. And we had all these times where Kate was dressing Prince Louis in all of Harry's childhood clothes. And someone said, what the hell? And someone said it's almost like she's hitting out at the pair of them by dressing Louis like Harry was when he was a young boy. And someone said that's sick in the head. And again, it just proves the dirty games that were going on behind the scenes before the book, Netflix, and the book Spare. Stuff was going on behind the scenes before. So everyone that says, oh no, it happened after, it didn't. It was going on way before. Harry said it started in 2016. And we all know it's because of her ethnicity, her colour. She's American. Who does she think she is? This is a British royal family. We don't want an outsider coming into us. What's she doing with her strength? What's she taking with her power? What's she going to do with it? And they were threatened by that. And I just think people should look back on how differently they were treated. So Kate was treated like a saint. She couldn't do anything wrong. She walked on water, whereas Meghan was treated like the villain, Godzilla, shouted at the staff, deserved to be bullied and harassed by the public and the press, deserved all the names. It's not fair, but people just can't see. They just ignore it and just feel sorry for the Princess of Wales all the time. And I don't think that's fair.